Hi, it's Alex here. Welcome back. This time I am here to show you my stash. I have mentioned before that my friend Dani, who only lives a few miles up the road, who is a pocket or two here on YouTube, jointly in collaboration with Sian of Kittenish Behaviour, have kind of developed, banging of the family in the background, have developed a new kind of challenge or hashtag, which is Show Me Your Stash 2020. For some reason I find it a complete tongue twister. So thought I'd take part. I have such a huge stash of fabric that I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be guided by the prompts and talk about the fabrics that apply to those. And then, as I've been saying recently, I'm going to do a series of videos talking about some of my favourite patterns, and those boxes up there all have my sewing patterns in. In fact, they're just the printed ones or PDFs that I've actually printed out and made, so there are actually even more. So I think what I'll do is, when we talk about sewing patterns, if I've got fabric in my stash that I would use for those patterns or they're suitable, I'll kind of pair them up a little bit. So I think that's the way I'm going to do it, because I have so much. We'd be here till next Christmas. Anyway, let's stick to the prompts. So before I do that, I'll just tell you, it's an absolutely gorgeous day today, and I'm wearing this dress that I made last summer. It's a McCall's. It does slightly show the bra strap, but you know, you can't have it all, can you? It's a McCall's, I've made a note, M7950. It was new last year, and I made it out of this shirting fabric from Fabworks, and I have to say I'm really pleased with how the stripes have worked. I couldn't stripe match both of those, but I kind of thought I'd do the main one. So yeah, I was really pleased with how I got that all to work last year. So and it's just such a lovely floaty, perfect for a hot day like today. So prompt number one is favourite fabric, and I'm sure everybody has said this, but that's a very, very hard thing to say. I recently did a video with some of the fabrics I've been sort of saving because they were quite precious to me and not using them. So I'll link that, but apart from one, I'm going to try not to overlap with those. But you know, I've been buying fabric for a long time, so I have lots of favourites, but the one I have chosen, not very seasonal, is this fabric here. Let's hope that we get some focus on it. And it wasn't massively expensive. I bought it from Leon's, which is a local fabric shop to me in Chorlton, and they're going to be opening again on the 1st of June, so that'll be lovely. Yes, I bought it from Leon's. They are very good at having very reasonably priced fabrics there. They also have Barry's in Birmingham. So I don't think it was particularly expensive, and it's certainly not 100% wool. It's kind of woolly. But what I love about it is this design. It kind of feels quite mid-century to me, and that is something that I really, really like. And I like yellow as well. So for me, this at the moment is probably one of many favourites, but this is the one I'm going to say is my favourite. It could also quite nicely qualify for the don't know what to do with it as well, because I like it so much. I'm a bit stuck to know what to do. Anyway, that's that one. The next prompt is oldest fabric. And this fabric I remember buying it. I bought when I was pregnant with my second daughter. That daughter is 18, so it's quite old. Now, I was living in London at the time in a place called East Dulwich, and there was a little shop up the road to us that I think must have been an independent designer, somebody sort of starting off, a little one-man band, and they did sell a few items of clothing in the window, but they also sold some rolls of fabric. There'd be like 10 rolls of fabric in the whole shop. And every time I walked past, I'd pop in and or I'd peer through the window and see what they had. And they had this, I don't know what I paid for it, who knows, it's a long time ago, but it's cord and it's got this kind of olive green mottled effect to it. Now clearly it's quite sort of swampy, and I've never really obviously known what to do with it because I've had it for such a long time. I don't think I've kept it because it's particularly precious as such, but it's such a big piece of fabric, it seems crazy to throw it out. I've had times when it's been on the you know, take it to a fabric swap if there's been a meet-up, on my pile for that, and then usually it's kind of, for some reason I've decided to keep it in the end. So yeah, definitely at the very least 18 years old. That's pretty old, isn't it? So that's definitely my oldest fabric, and to be honest, even now I'm not sure what I'd make with it. Now the next prompt is scared to cut into. There is a later prompt that is fabric with a story, and I couldn't really find a fabric with a story, but then I thought actually nearly every bit of fabric you've got has got a story, so I'm going to kind of amalgamate. This is scared to cut into and fabric with a story, and this is this absolutely gorgeous, and I did show you this in my fabrics that I was determined to use. Dani Iro herringbone fabric. It's like a herringbone weave. I think it's called Foreman. And I had bought 1.5 meters of this, and Dani Iro fabrics are always pretty narrow, so it was quite limited what I could do. And a couple of people who put comments on that video said, why don't you make a skirt with it? And I'm not the biggest wearer of skirts, but I thought, actually, do you know, I'd been thinking about tops and wishing I'd had a bit more of it so I could make some kind of jackety type thing, but I hadn't really considered a skirt, and that made me think about skirts. And I had made last year the pull moose skirt from Named Patterns. I made it in denim, so you can't see the style lines too well, but I'll put a picture up. And I figured that I could just about, literally just about, get that pattern out of the amount of fabric I had. And I thought, actually, it's a pencil skirt with almost like sort of like a princess lines, but they're not princess lines because they're from the skirt, but you'll see from the diagram. And I thought, actually, I can just about get that out of the fabric, but I think I would wear it, and I think in this gorgeous fabric it would look amazing. So I was all excited, I was all buoyed up. I spent ages putting my pattern pieces on and seeing whether it could work, and I managed to squeeze it on, cut everything out, was getting ready to sew it up. You know where this is going, it's not going well. And then this, which is it this one? No, hold on. This piece, which is right at the centre front, what I hadn't twigged, I must have been laying the pattern pieces on the wrong side, was that I had incorporated this bit of the selvage. So in effect that is the front of the skirt, and there we have the writing, and there's not a lot I could do about that. You know, that's too far in from the edge to incorporate in the seam. So, and I know some people would say I'll make it a design feature, but if I had this writing on my skirt, I know I wouldn't wear it. So I was in a real grump because I'd been holding on to this for so long because I was frightened to use it, and then when I did use it, I messed it up. I had bought this from the Draper's daughter. I knew that Karen at the Draper's daughter didn't have any more, and I didn't think not many people stock Dani Iro, or not this one. Anyway, nobody in the country had it. So I was in a big grump. Anyway, I decided to bite the bullet and scour the world, and I've ordered some from Japan, and I am absolutely determined that when that comes, who knows how long that'll take while everything's in lockdown, but when that comes, I am going to get this skirt finished. Don't know what I'll do with this random piece here, but yeah, so that's a combination of my fabric with a story and my fabric, scared to cut into, and in this case I was right to be scared because I messed it up. And then the next prompt is don't have a clue what to make with it. And I've got two fabrics here, and for the same reason really. One is this one. I really love the design of this, and I've got quite a bit of it. It was cheap as chips. I'm fairly sure that it came from the Textile Centre. I might even still have it. It was, you know, uber bargain price. Something about it I really like, but it's chiffon, and what on earth am I going to make with that? It's slippery as mad, it's completely see-through. I'm going to make a nice scarf, but other than that, got absolutely no idea. And yet I mean, not very summery perhaps, but I do really love this fabric. So if anyone's got any ideas, please let me know in the comments below. And the next piece of fabric is pretty much the same thing. I think I bought this from Leon's, my local shop. Same deal, love this fabric. It's not quite as thin as the last one, but it's got that same kind of, you know, uber slippery, slightly transparent, uber drapey. I kind of felt like this would make you know, a sort of glamorous Miu Miu type thing. I should be wafting around, you know, in high heels and drinking cocktails, but you know. So any ideas for those two, let me know. So the next prompt is precious fabric and why, and that is this silk that my husband bought me for my birthday one year. And he bought it from one of the fabric shops in Soho in London. I think it was, there's a silk one, is it called something like the Silk Shop? I'll Google it in a sec. Or Borovic Silks, or one of those anyway. I suspect it cost him a small fortune, and even in comparison to the silks that he brought back from Hong Kong for me, I mean, there's a world of difference. This literally does feel like liquid. It's absolutely amazing. Not sure how much there is here, but there's a fair bit. So it's very precious, but I'm too scared to use it. So this comes under many categories. At the time, his thinking was, I think he didn't know what to buy me that year, but he said, look, you would never spend that amount of money on some fabric, so I'm going to treat you and then you can make yourself something fabulous, which was a really nice sentiment. But actually all that's happened is it's sitting around not being used. So I need to change that. I don't know what to do with it. Again, they all cover many categories really, don't they? So that's all the fabrics I've got so far. The last one is your dream fabric, and I almost got there with my dream fabric in, you know, the real world. My favourite kind of design, my favourite prints are 1950s textiles. I absolutely adore them. I bought this book from the V&A quite a few years ago now, V&A Patterns, the 50s. And I'll take some photographs to show you the sort of thing I mean. I absolutely love Lucian Day, her designs, and there are some old Conran designs in here, and I love this one here. That dress I made for the Manchester Sewing Bee, I'll put an image. You can see why I loved that fabric, because it reminded me of some of these. So yeah, that would be my dream fabric. And about 2 or 3 years ago, John Lewis were having their centenary, and Lucian Day had been somebody that had done bits and pieces for them, and they had a very small range of clothing with fabrics designed by her and some fabric. And it was sod's law that when that fabric came out, I didn't have the extra money to go and buy it. I was absolutely stony broke, so I was devastated. And then they had a sale about 6 months later, and I was in the sale. Things had changed, I had some money, and I found this. And so this is an original Lucian Day print. So I bought basically all they had, which was probably about a couple of metres. And I have made, sorry, I literally grabbed this off the back of the bedroom door. I've made a sort of robe out of it, and that is one of my kind of summer robes that I wear all the time. So I kind of almost got my dream fabric. Well, I did get my dream fabric, but not enough of it. I'd love more. So if any of you have seen any of those kind of prints in fabric that's, you know, not massively expensive, that's around, please let me know anytime. Find me on Instagram, let me know, because that is absolutely my dream fabric. So that is me sort of come to the end right now. I will be back soon, and we're definitely going to talk more about the rest of my fabric stash, but probably, as I say, more in conjunction with some of the patterns I've got, and we'll go from here. There are lots of sewing vloggers who are taking part in this, so go check out the hashtag if you want to have a good old nose around everyone else's fabric and to see what they're all doing. But yeah, big thank you to Dani and to Sian for coming up with this idea, and I will be back soon. Look after yourselves. Bye bye.